Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, my dear students of honors, part 4. Today I will start discussing on approaches and methods of language teaching. This is the title of the course, and the course code is 24119, and I will today start my discussion on approaches and methods of language teaching by initiating my deliberation on grammar translation method. And first I will tell you the definition of grammar translation method, and then I will tell you the key or salient features of grammar translation method, and afterwards I will tell you the techniques of grammar translation methods, and then I will tell you the advantages and disadvantages of grammar translation method. And let me now begin my discussion with telling you the definition of grammar translation method. The grammar translation method of foreign language teaching is one of the most traditional methods dating back to the late 19th and early 20th century. At one time, it was called the classical method, since it was first used in the teaching of the classical languages, Latin and Greek. Earlier in this century, this method was used for the purpose of helping students read and appreciate foreign language literature. It was also hoped that through the study of grammar of the target language, students would become more familiar with the grammar of their native language, and that this familiarity would help them speak and write their native language better. Finally, it was thought that foreign language learning would help students grow intellectually. It was recognized that students would probably never use the target language, but the mental exercise of learning, it would be beneficial anyway. Now, my dear students, I will tell you the salient features of grammar translation method. The salient or key features of grammar translation method are: classes are taught in mother tongue with little active use of the target language. And secondly, much vocabulary is taught in the form of lists of isolated words. Third, long elaborate explanations of the intricacies of grammar are given. Fourth, grammar provides the rules for putting words together, and instruction often focuses on the form and inflection of words. Fifth, reading of difficult classical texts is begun early. Sixth, little attention is paid to the content of texts, which are treated as exercises in grammatical analysis. Sixth, often the only drills are exercises in translating disconnected sentences from the target language into the mother tongue. And finally, little or no attention is given to pronunciation. And now, my dear students, I will tell you some of the techniques that are used in grammar translation method. Translating target language, usually a literary passage to mother tongue or native language. And the second is reading comprehension, finding information in a passage, making inferences and relating to personal experience. And the next technique is antonyms and synonyms, finding antonyms and synonyms for words or set of words, and then there is cognates, learning spelling or sound patterns that correspond between mother tongue and target language. And next, deductive application of rule. Understanding grammar rules and their exceptions, then applying them to new examples. Fill in the blanks, filling in the gaps in sentences with new words or items of a particular grammar type. And then there is memorization. And memorizing vocabulary lists, grammatical rules and grammatical paradigms such as conjugation of verbs. And next there is vocabulary practice. Students create sentences to illustrate and they know the meaning and use of the words. And lastly, composition. Students are write about a topic using the target language. Now I will tell you the advantages of grammar translation method. Grammar translation method is an easy method. In this method, the child proceeds from the known to unknown. He already knows his mother tongue and now he learns English or the target language. It helps in building vocabulary. Grammar translation method helps in the rapid expansion of vocabulary of the students. The students get the exact meaning of words. And the third advantage is that it saves teaching. It saves the teacher's labor. The teacher finds it very easy to prepare his lessons. He has not to think of the ways and means to explain new words. And the fourth advantage is that comprehension is easily tested. In grammar translation method, students' comprehension of English or target language, especially at the early stages, can be easily tested by asking them to answer questions in the mother tongue. And grammar is easily taught. Grammar of the target language is easily taught by comparing it with the grammar of the mother language. And grammar translation method is still common in many countries and even it is popular in those countries. Brown, a linguist, attempts to explain why the method is still employed by pointing out it requires few specialized skills on the part of teachers. Tests of grammar rules and of translations are easy to construct and can be objectively scored. Many standardized tests of foreign languages still do not attempt to tap into communicative abilities, so students have little motivation to go beyond grammatical analogies, translations and rote exercises. And now I will tell you the disadvantages of grammar translation method. And the disadvantages, the first disadvantages is that it is an unnatural method. And in the grammar translation method, teacher first teach to read the target language, but in learning mother language or mother tongue, a child first learns to listen and then the child tries to speak and then it it learns to read and then write. And in mother tongue, the natural order is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But in grammar translation method, the teacher first tries to teach the students how to read, and this is a reversal of the natural order, and that is why it is an unnatural method. And secondly, it neglects speech, and in grammar translation method, not much attention is paid to develop speaking of the students. It emphasizes on learning to read the target language, and put it puts much import on teaching how to learn it fast, how to learn reading fast, and that is why it neglects speech. And then it neglects pattern practice. There is no pattern practice in grammar translation method. The result is that students aren't able to speak English correctly, and then it discourages habit formation. And the grammar translation method does not encourage the habit formation, that is, encourages speaking and listening, and that is why it emphasizes on reading and writing, and that is why the child never acquires the habit to think in target language. Instead, the child first thought in his mother tongue and translate his thought into target language, and exact translation is not possible. Language is the result of the history, tradition, culture, and the life of the people speaking them. That is why the students can't translate exactly from one language to another. And then idiomatic expressions are difficult to translate, and grammar translation method teaches the target language by rules, and it makes the students a passive listener, because the teachers are the sole authority of the class, and students don't participate actively in the class procedure. And the grammar translation method is uninteresting because it is dull and mechanical. It is bookish. No teaching aids are used, and that is why the classes are not very interesting to the students. And there are some other drawbacks. No class time is allocated to allow students to produce their own sentences, and even less time is spent on oral practice of the target language, and there is often little contextualization of the grammar, although this of course depends upon the passages chosen and the teacher's own skills. And my dear students, let me conclude my discussion on grammar translation method by saying that indeed the emphasis on achieving correct grammar with little regard for the free application and production of his speech is at once the greatest asset and the greatest disadvantage to grammar translation approach. And with these few words, I would like to conclude my lecture for today. I hope that you will understand what is grammar translation method, and also you will also know some other aspects of grammar translation method. Thank you very much.